In episode 9 of Ghost Doctor, we see that Young Min's body is starting to show some improvement. So we'll see how long it's going to take for him to fully come back. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another review on the Review Garden. This is a disclaimer. If you haven't seen this yet, obviously go see it and then join me. So, in episode 9, he's starting to get improvements in the brain waves. So, Seijin is like it's because of happy hormones, and pretty much the happy hormones. The night before, he used Sung Tak so that he can go tuck her in, um, like put a blanket over her, and all the surgeries that he's been doing. So that pretty much put him in a good mood. So that is what's helping him, um, like brain function, right? So now him and Sungtak are going to try to get more surgeries in and pretty much more happy hormones. And another way for him to do the happy hormones, he decided to help the other three ghosts that are also there. So the other coma patients. So the first one he's helping is the girl, and they find out that um before she fainted and hit her head, she was her nose was bleeding, and she also has this other condition. And with this information, they found out that it was an infection, so they figured out a way to try to help her. So in episode 9, that's what we saw. They don't know yet if it's gonna fully work, but that's what we're going to see in episode 10 if that worked. So in a way, being in the ghost world, in the spirit world, like helped him help her. So also in this episode, because she kind of saw him when he was um Seijin kind of saw Young Min when he came to put the thing over him, and she kind of like saw him and she saw Sungtak. So there are moments when she's like looking at Sungtak and thinking that it's Young Min. And also, you know, Sungtak keeps messing up every time he's talking to her, because he went to her to try and help the other girl. She's the one who pretty much figured out what to do to help her. Um, yeah, so he keeps talking to her, but he's not talking to her, right? He's talking to Young Min, but she doesn't know that. So she's like so confused. And there was a moment when he was operating and she was just staring at him, but in her mind, she's thinking it's Young Min, right? And then there was a moment of jealousy with the other girl, Crystal, um, because she just saw Seijin staring at Sungta, but in her mind again, she's staring at um, Young Min. And also in episode 9, you have the other doctor who's still trying to persuade the cousin that, oh yeah, it's Young Min in Subtek's body. I'm like, what's it to you? He already put the blame on you. Like, why are you even coming back and saying all of that? Like, go somewhere. And he's like, oh, I'm gonna prove it to you. And I guess in a way, like, they didn't plan for that. Like, even in the previous episodes, you already saw um what Young Min can do, because he always like twists his wrist right before the surgery, and then there are other things that only he does. So when Sungtak is doing it, that's when they're like, oh, oh, it might be him, right? So at the end of episode 9, um the cousin went to Sungtak and was like, "Oh, I know for sure now you are Dr. Shah." And then like he admitted it. And I'm like, "Why are you admitted it? Why are you admitting it? You should have been like, no, it's not me, right? Or whatever, you know?" After revealing that he is Youngmin Dr. Cha, uh, the cousin is like spooked out, and he was also talking to the other doctor, and like he's like, "What? He's the only. It was only just the two of us up there. How did he hear that conversation?" And he was like, wait, like, who would he be more mad at? Not me, like you, because he was your mentor, and you betrayed him and stuff like that. So now the other guy is super spooked, and then he's like, maybe he's in this room right now. Maybe he's behind you. And I was like, oh my gosh, that scene was hilarious. But then, Young Min and Sungta got to talk to each other, and pretty much told Sungta told Young Min, what happened to him when he was young, because he got into an accident, and then afterwards he started seeing ghosts everywhere he went. And since his mom, his grandpa all worked in the hospital, then he was like, oh, he had to go to the hospital. So like there were times when he was thinking about, suicide, because the the ghosts were like scary for him at a young age. And he also talked about, like, when he was in school, because the ghosts like came, since they're in medical school, they have to like cut into bodies and pretty much do the procedures. And the person whose body he was about to cut like showed up right next to him and was like, is it going to hurt if you cut into my body like that? So he couldn't continue doing it, and he was like, I don't feel like doing this, and then he just walked out of class. So like you can kind of understand where he was coming from. Like they just thought he didn't want to apply himself, but he's just dealing with the fact that he's able to see ghosts, right? So um so he spent more time studying. That's why they're like, oh, he's very smart, but he's not like a hands-on doctor. So I wonder, like, if by the end of this series, like, w- is he going to be healed, or is he going to like um you know take the fact that he could see ghosts and apply it, because that's the best way to save their life. If someone comes to the ER and they can't speak for themselves, and they can't tell you what exactly they were doing, their ghost is here, and you could talk to their ghost and figure out what exactly happened, and you're able to treat them, especially what happened with the girl. The mom came and the mom found her, but the mom didn't know what she was doing before that. She found her unconscious, and then it was the ghost who let Sungtak know that before that, well, she let Young Min know. Before that, she had a bloody nose, and she blew her nose, and while she got up, she was dizzy, and then that's when she fell, right? But somehow the mom didn't know that she had a bloody nose before and didn't relay that information to the doctor. So so it would be an interesting power for him to be able to see ghosts and help them in the future, you know? So also, I forgot to mention in episode 9, we find out that Crystal's grandfather is actually the ghost boss. Yeah, so that means her grandfather and his grandfather are besties. So that would mean like they knew each other for the longest time. They had to have been in each other's lives for the longest time, right? I did see, Suntak interact with the ghost boss, and then I was like, maybe it was because he's been there for a long time that he interacted with him. But seeing that the ghost boss is his grandpa's best friend, or was his grandpa's best friend, which I'm also assuming business partner, because he was a doctor at the hospital. So that's why he knew him, and he talked to him. But what about the other ghosts? Like, didn't see him talk to the ghost boss to be like, oh, um, that he could see them. So that that was that point. And then the other point is, you know, the ghost boss told young men that once you leave the ghost world, you don't remember anything, right? So it's episode 10. I feel like he should be trying to, leave some little notes of what's going on in the ghost world for himself, because once he wakes up and he's back to being himself, he's not going to remember the adventures he had with Sungtak. And where's all the evidence that he's gathering against Sungtak's, cousin? Like all that stuff. Like, yeah, I get it. You're doing all of this to make him wake up, but when he wakes up, he's not going to remember anything. So is their relationship is going to go back to the way it was? Because if he doesn't remember, all of this is moot. And it's like it's not gonna be last minute you make him wake up, and then after that, now you guys gotta scrunch up all this evidence to put the boss put the cousin away and put the other doctor away. Or at least if that's the plan. We don't know what the plan is, and we don't know where. It's episode 10, and we don't know, well, I don't know where this series is going, like you would think it would be to punish the bad guys, and obviously him wake up and him pretty much changing his character, because he was a jerk when he was a doctor right now, and now he kind of cooled down and all that stuff. And also, the way he's acting with Sejin now, he's not going to remember any of that. He's not going to remember anything when he wakes up, based on what they did with the other guy who hit him. So are we just going to rely on the other guy to gain a conscious? I mean, whatever, so that they can have evidence in trying to create happy thoughts for young men. Sungtak had the idea of having him go to the Jessica concert, and then he also had Sejin go to the concert as well. but he kind of did it as a surprise for young men. He didn't tell him that, you know, she was going either. So they kind of had a moment, but in he was obviously he was acting like young men, and he was like telling her things like, oh, he decided to become a heart doctor because he made a promise to a girl, and that she was going to be a brain doctor. They were going to open a clinic together. So she's just like, huh? That's exactly what me and young men were going to do. So it was weird coming out of Sungtak's mouth, right? And then, while they were returning to the hospital, Crystal saw the two of them together. Obviously, she doesn't see Dr. Cha, so she saw Sungtak and Sejin together, and she's like, "Why are they together? Like, are they? Don't tell me they're dating." So then she got a little jealous, but when they got to the hospital, they realized that the little boy Sungjo was missing. And then when Dr. Cha and Sungtak, when Young Min and Sungtak went to go find him, they saw him, but when he ran, he was like, "Doctor, you came to see me." And then he ran right through Sungtak and um hugged Young Min. So now they had to go find his body, which he fainted, and the Crystal was able to like give him CPR and get his um heart rate back, but they had to do surgery on him to fix the problem, because after they did the first surgery, he keeps running around. So now they have to do another surgery because it pretty much got out of place, kind of. So while this is happening, he needs to get another surgery. But the cousin went and told all the doctors that they can't perform surgeries with Suntak. Oh, it doesn't make sense for a first year resident to be doing all these surgeries, just because you guys want to make quick bucks or whatever. So he stopped them from doing the surgery, any surgery with Suntak. Well, the little boy needs to have a new surgery, and he's like, well, you're not going to be doing it with him, type of thing. So they arranged this scheme to try and um get the boy his surgery and have Sungtak do it. Sungtak and Young Min do it. But while they are having their while they were doing the surgery, they keep these glitches keep happening. And I just hope that with this glitch, the boy, like, nothing happens to the little boy. Like, why should he have to die? Like, yeah, I just hope he doesn't die at the end of episode 10. you know they're glitching and they kind of separate, because I'm guessing he's about to wake up. But why? Like, I feel like whoever the writers are, like, you could have had like have him wake up, or have him like glitch out of Sumtak at another time. It didn't have to be during the little boy's surgery, like that. It's gonna be really sad if something happens to the little boy. Even though they started separating at the end of episode 10, they still managed to save the little boy, do the surgery successfully. And then after a little while, the ghost of the little boy disappeared, and he was able to go back to his body and wake up. So, which was pretty good. But now they're saying that, because that happened, that means that his ghost powers, like, they're weakening, because he's starting to, like, there's brain waves and he's pretty much starting to wake up type of thing, right? So he's getting better. So for the two of them to be like for young men to possess Sungtak, it's gonna be hard type of thing, right? So um so now we're also seeing, the girl, she's still getting jealous. The brother came to see Seijin, and he pretty much told her, "Oh, does he know that I'm the reason you left for America?" So we already knew that the father wanted her to go to America to get a better education, but apparently the brother forced her to go to America as well, because he was like, if you don't go, I'm going to mess up the career of your boyfriend. So, and he, like, if you threaten her, why are you even sending your people out to beat him up? Like, he sent people out, beat him up, and like almost like injured his hand. And for a surgeon, your hands are the most important thing. So he was like, "Oh, was it this hand or that hand?" Da, 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 da. So he's like, "Well, I need you to sign this paper to transfer the inheritance over back to me." And you know, and she was like, no, I'm not going to do that." So he was like, "Should I kill him then? Is that what it's going to take for you to sign it over to me?" And, at that time, Sungtak comes into the room, and, Young Min was in the room when he was saying all that stuff. So when Sungtak came, he possessed Sungtak and pretty much punched him in the face. The cousin came into the room and asking like, "What's going on?" Da, da, da. So he's like, so he's meeting with the other. Um, so the cousin is meeting with the brother, and he's like, "What are you doing here? Like, get out of my hospital." Da, da, da. And he's like, "You seem to be forgetting that I didn't do anything. The person who orchestrated this whole plan, who got the doctor, who had him get in an accident, all that was you. So you need to figure out whose side you're actually on." Okay? So after that, pretty much, Sungtak was getting his hand taken care of by Sejin. And then when he got out of her room, Crystal came and was like, "What were you guys doing?" So, she's pretty much showing her jealous side. And I'm just like, why don't you just be honest, girl? Like, get your man, right? Um, so you have Sejin, who's like kind of confused about what's going on, because she went to go see a shrink and was like, "I'm seeing everything about Dr. Cha in Sunta." And then the doctor's like, "Well, obviously you just went to something traumatic and you're taking care of him, so those things are bound to play out." But my thing is, you know, towards the end of episode 11, that was pretty much the cliffhanger for episode 11. He was going to tell her the truth. So he's going to tell her the truth and tell her, like, "Hey, his ghost is here, you know? So we'll see how she takes it." But the thing that I have is with Crystal, right? So that Dr. she knows that Dr. Cha is a ghost. And then there was the moment when the other guy came, and he was like, she was like, is there someone here? Is there someone here? And then so she believes in ghosts, right? Because there was even that moment when she was like, I witnessed something 20 years ago. So she has to know that her grandfather's spirit is like roaming around somewhere, right? And the old lady, well, she's not really old, the cleaning lady that he keeps possessing, um you know, when she went to him, when she went to her and was like, we saved the little boy. And the old lady was like, who are you talking to? Who are you talking about? Because I don't know, maybe you got the wrong person or something. And then next time around, the cleaning lady comes to her and is like, we saved the little boy, right? And she's like, what is going on? And then I'm like, girl, you believe in ghosts. So why can't you believe that someone possessed her body, you know? So I wonder how, like, if what she witnessed was something happening with her grandpa. And also, speaking of her and her grandpa, I find it weird that her mom is like, oh, I don't want you to go in. She's like, do something with the eyes, do something with the nose, the ears, right? I don't want you to be an ER doctor. I don't want you to be a thing doctor. I don't want you to be like your grandpa. And I'm like, what's the difference? Is it because the eye, like being an eye doctor is low risk? I mean, she's still operating. Like if you're saying she's a surgeon, I would think like she would still be operating on someone with an eye problem, right? So that part's a little weird. So her mom's gonna find out that she's actually working at the hospital and being an ER intern. So we'll see what happens there. And it's funny to me that so Young Min has never seen Tess take over. Tess, who that's the name of the ghost boss. He's never seen him take over a body before because, like, he was shocked. I guess no one in the hospital, no one knows that Tess used to be Tess used to be a doctor because there was that moment when when Sungtak was talking to the other ghost and he was like, you guys don't know what he used to do before, do you? And it's like, okay, yeah, I mean, we can kind of deduce that a he used to be a doctor, right? So I wonder why they're like stopping to reveal that he used to be a doctor. Maybe because they're gonna like put it in the end that he's the one who possessed um Young Min's body back then, because it was 12 years ago. Tess passed away like 20 years ago. So it's quite possible that he's the one who possessed him. With episode 12, um, Crystal's mother found out that she actually works in the ER, which was so and so now she's like avoiding her mom. But I still don't understand like what the big deal is. Maybe it's because, too many hours. That's why she's not seeing her family. Something like that. And then, you know, well, it was actually Suntak who figured out what was wrong with Young Min, and they were trying to figure out, how to make him better. So who's gonna perform the surgery? And with the two of them separating, you know, um, he was like he doesn't feel comfortable doing the surgery on himself. And then another patient came in the night before, and that's pretty much how episode 12 ended, because Suntak was like, I thought you said No patient was supposed to wait for a doctor. So like he was asking for, Young Min to help the other patient. And Young Min is like, this is a very critical surgery. And, we're not supposed, like, what if something happened to your hand? Da, da, da. Well, they get into the surgery, like the guy's about to, like, the guy's gonna die if he doesn't get the surgery, and no other doctors were available. One of them had a drink, the another one's not in the country, and then another one was busy with another operation, I think. So the only person who could do it was Sunta. And they started doing it, and then their Young Min wasn't able to possess Sungtak anymore, so he fell on the floor. And then that's when, a bunch of blood started coming out of the patient. And that's when Tess comes in and is like, Clamp, what are you doing? The clamp him. And then you see the ghost of the patient is, floating, and then those little crystals are happening. So you already know that he's dying. And he also flatlined. So obviously that's a cue that he's flatlining. And like Sungtuk is like shocked. So that's going to be that's going to like traumatize this man. So that was pretty much the end of episode 12. So in episode 13, we'll find out what exactly happens. I mean, obviously, the guy's going to die. And if he does die, the cousin was actually looking for an excuse to, turn things around in his favor. He already got the old doctor to, try to murder Young Min, but because there was a guard there, he didn't do anything. So, um, so obviously Sumtak is gonna get in trouble, and they're gonna be using this to their advantage. But my thing is, his operation is supposed to happen the next day. Young Min's operation is supposed to happen the next day at 8 a.m. So if Sumtak doesn't show up after he's traumatized, they're gonna have to get another doctor to do the operation. It would be funny though if, like, since he can't possess um since he can't possess Sumtak's body, I wonder if Tess is going to possess someone else's body to um to do the operation on um, Young Min instead. But they keep acting like the other doctors are not capable. But I feel like they're like being lazy in a way, because they're perfectly capable of doing these procedures. So they always leave it for Sungtak to do. So we shall see what happens. And the other thing I don't understand is why they only decided to help the girl. Like, her name is Bomi, so she's no longer a ghost. She's back to the living, and she's living her life, right? And hopefully her mom gives her a break, because she was a PhD student, and her mom was like, when she was gonna go get the surgery, she was like, oh, when you wake up, you have to get back to your studies. Other people have already done their dissertation, so you're a little behind. And I'm like, that's probably the whole reason why this whole thing happened to her, because she was like studying so much. So, but they were able to help her. So I wonder if they're going to be able to help the other two guys, because they're still in a coma. The cousin wants to take them out of the hospital, you know? So it's like, are they going to make it? And I find it weird that the woman, the one guy, he's married with a son, and the wife never went to visit him because Sungtak went to go give her the recipe for the walnut because he used to own a walnut shop, and when he got into a coma, she was trying to make the walnuts, she but she but she's not making it the same way as him. So that, oh, okay. So now I understand that scene in a previous episode when the first time Young Min went out with Sejin to go to the concert, to go to Jessica's concert, he came back with a bag of walnut cakes. He came back with a bag of walnut cakes. And then they were eating it and they didn't like it. And then he was like, "Where did you get it from?" And then he told him exactly where he got it from and that there wasn't a lot of people lining up. So I guess that's why now. So he still got it from the right place. It's just because the wife wasn't making it the same way and no one was buying it. So now he gave Sungtak the recipe to go give to her so that she could start making it the same way as him. But I still find it weird that she never visited her husband in the hospital, like he's in a coma. Like, you just don't visit him because Sungtak told her, like, he's been waiting for you, type of thing. And can you take your son to go see him? Yeah, and that's what he's been saying. He's like, I wonder if he's all grown up now. I don't know. That's just weird. And then the other boy, he had a scare. Um, and then that's when Tess helped him. So I just hope that they're able to rescue them and bring them back, because that would be kind of sad if he dies too. Like, the person who died at the end of episode 12, I mean, he's some random person, but they've been there from the beginning, and it would be kind of sad if he doesn't rescue them in the last um, 4 episodes. And this wraps up our journey on the Review Garden. Thank you for joining me today as we explored this drama. If you enjoyed this reaction and review, please remember to subscribe for more insightful videos. Don't forget to like this video and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your feedback helps our channel grow. As always, I'm truly grateful for your support and for joining me on this journey on the Review Garden. Until next time, and happy listening. Bye.